Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How often have we heard ourselves say, I'll wait for the right time? We've all been there. We think we need perfect conditions, the stars to align, everything in place, and then we'll take the leap. But I'm here to tell you waiting for the right time is a trap. Life doesn't wait for perfect moments. Life is not going to come knocking at your door with a sign that says, okay, now's the time. You can wait for the conditions to be just right, but by the time that moment comes, you might be too old, too tired, or too scared to take action. Time doesn't wait for anyone, and neither should you doubt perfection is an illusion. We often convince ourselves that we need everything to fall into place before we take action. We wait for the stars to align, for the ideal circumstances, the perfect plan, or the right resources. But in reality, perfection doesn't exist. Waiting for it is like waiting for a train that's never coming. Life isn't perfect. We can try to make everything fall into place, but there will always be something unpredictable, something unexpected. The more we wait for the perfect conditions, the more time we waste. It's a trap, a way of avoiding the fear of failure, or even the fear of success. We use perfection as an excuse to stay in our comfort zones, to delay our dreams, to procrastinate on the very things that could bring us closer to the life we want. When we chase perfection, we forget that growth and success often come from taking risks, making mistakes, and learning from them. No one becomes great without first facing challenges. But those challenges only arise when you take the first step, when you push forward even though things aren't ideal. In fact, it's the imperfections that often lead to the most powerful breakthroughs. We learn by doing, by getting our hands dirty, by making mistakes and correcting course along the way. The need for perfection holds us back from starting, and the more we delay, the harder it becomes to move forward. If we wait for everything to be flawless, we'll be waiting forever. The perfect moment never arrives. And even if it does, we might have missed countless opportunities while waiting for it. What matters is not getting everything perfect, but taking the first step and allowing ourselves the grace to grow and adapt along the way. The best time to start is always right now, not tomorrow. We often think that we need to wait for the right moment, the right amount of preparation, or the right set of circumstances to begin pursuing our goals. But that perfect moment is a myth. Life doesn't give us a pause to prepare for what's coming next. The future is uncertain, and tomorrow is never guaranteed. Waiting for a better time is just another way of avoiding the discomfort that comes with starting something new. The truth is, if you keep putting it off, you'll keep finding reasons to delay. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to get started. Starting now doesn't mean you need to have everything figured out. It means choosing to act, even when you don't have all the answers. It means taking the first step, even when you're unsure about the outcome. That initial step, no matter how small, is what propels you forward. It's the momentum that builds and leads to progress. Procrastination often arises from fear, the fear of failure, of making mistakes, or of not being ready. But the best way to conquer that fear is through action. You will never feel completely ready, but if you wait for that feeling, you may end up never starting at all. When you start now, you create the opportunity to learn along the way. You adjust, pivot, and improve as you move forward. The process of doing teaches you things that preparation never will. By starting now, you embrace the possibility of growth, even in the midst of uncertainty. There's no perfect moment to begin, only the moment you're in. And that moment is now. Obstacles are opportunities for growth and strength. Too often we see challenges as setbacks or signs that we're not on the right path. But in reality, obstacles are an essential part of the journey. Every challenge we face has the potential to teach us something valuable. It's through overcoming obstacles that we build resilience, expand our capabilities, and sharpen our skills. Life will never be without its difficulties. Whether personal, professional, or emotional, obstacles are inevitable. But they are not there to stop us, they are there to shape us. Each time we face an obstacle, we are given a choice to retreat or to rise to the occasion. And every time we choose to rise, we become stronger, more capable, and more confident in our ability to handle whatever comes next. Obstacles force us to think differently, to look for new solutions, and to adapt in ways we never thought possible. They push us outside of our comfort zones where true growth happens. It's easy to stay in a place where everything feels familiar, but nothing meaningful happens there. It's only when we're challenged that we begin to unlock our potential. The discomfort we feel in the face of obstacles is actually a sign of growth. It's a reminder that we are capable of more than we thought. Every time we overcome a challenge, we become more aware of our strength and resilience. Rather than dreading obstacles, we should learn to embrace them. They are not roadblocks, they are stepping stones. They are the moments that refine us, that push us to rise higher and reach further than we ever could have without them. Obstacles test our limits, but they also expand them. Fear is a choice. We often think of fear as something that controls us, something we can't escape. But the truth is, fear doesn't have to dictate our actions. We have the power to choose how we respond to fear. Fear is a natural human emotion. It's our body's response to uncertainty, to danger, or to the unknown. But fear doesn't have to stop us from moving forward. In fact, fear can be a signal that we are on the verge of something new, something significant. It's a sign that we are stepping outside of our comfort zone, and that's where growth happens. When we face fear, we often feel paralyzed, like we're not capable or not ready. But in reality, fear only has power over us when we give it that power. We can choose to act despite our fear. We can choose courage over hesitation, bravery over doubt. Choosing to move forward in the face of fear doesn't mean we aren't scared. It means that we understand fear is a part of the process, not an obstacle that will prevent us from achieving our goals. We may still feel fear, but we don't have to let it control our decisions. Each time we make the choice to move forward despite fear, we gain confidence. We begin to realize that fear is not the enemy, it's a natural part of being human. It's what helps us grow, stretch, and evolve. When we choose courage, we shift the power dynamic. We decide that fear won't hold us back. Instead of letting it paralyze us, we use it as fuel to push us toward the things that matter most. Fear is a part of the journey, but it doesn't have to define it. Even small actions lead to big changes over time. Many of us get caught up in the idea that we need to make grand, sweeping moves to achieve success. We think that unless we can make a huge impact right away, we're not doing enough. But the reality is that progress doesn't always happen in giant leaps. It's the accumulation of small steps taken consistently that leads to the most profound changes in our lives. Every small action you take, every decision you make, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is a step closer to your goal. And when you add them up, those small actions can create massive results. We often underestimate the power of consistency. We look for instant results, but real transformation happens over time. Think about building a muscle. At first, you don't see much change. You might feel frustrated. But as you continue to show up day after day, the changes begin to appear. It's the same with any goal you set. Success isn't about one big breakthrough. It's about showing up, doing the work, and taking those small actions even on days when it feels like nothing is happening. Over time, those actions compound, and what once seemed impossible becomes possible. All it takes is the courage to take the first small step. We often fear failure or believe we need to have everything figured out before we start. But it's the act of starting, no matter how small, that sets the entire process into motion. It's the habit of showing up consistently that leads to growth. Success is built not in dramatic shifts, but in the quiet, persistent efforts we make every day. The small steps you take today are the foundation for the transformation of tomorrow. That time doesn't wait. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but how we choose to spend those hours makes all the difference. We often talk about time as if it's something we can control, something we can manage, and something we can retrieve later. But the truth is, time is fleeting and it's moving forward whether we're ready for it or not. Each minute, each second is an opportunity that can never be recaptured. The longer we wait for the right moment, the more time slips away. We can't afford to wait for things to be perfect, for the stars to align, or for the perfect opportunity to show up. Those moments don't exist. Time keeps moving, and if we're not using it, we risk letting it pass by without ever acting on our dreams. We often find ourselves stuck in a loop, waiting for a better moment, telling ourselves that tomorrow will be ready, or that next week will start. But that mindset only leads to more waiting and more inaction. Time doesn't care about our plans or our excuses. It keeps going, and in the process, we lose precious opportunities to make a difference. If you're waiting for the right time to start, you're missing out on the time you already have. The truth is, the right time is now because tomorrow isn't promised. Each day you delay, you miss out on the chance to move closer to your goals. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that there's plenty of time ahead, but in reality, the only time you have is the present moment. What you do with it today will determine what you achieve tomorrow.